Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you for showing interest in our program of our Master in Social and Cultural Anthropology. In this presentation, I'm going to explain a bit about the way our program is structured, the content of the program, so what you can expect during these 2 years you would study anthropology at our faculty. First of all, the study of anthropology is special. I would say this discipline is special not so much because of what we study, but certainly the way we do that, the point of view we take, the approach we have towards the human condition. Um, it's a discipline that has a holistic view on social phenomena. So it takes the historical, political, social conditions into account. We have several methods that we use. One that's very famous is participant observation. So we try to stay for a long time in a field site and immerse ourselves there with the people we are involved with. We try to get the perspectives from the people we work together with, and that can only be done by taking enough time. So it also requires to have a flexible and open attitude as an anthropologist, because you have to adapt to circumstances that sometimes you couldn't think about beforehand. But it's also what makes this this discipline so rich, I would say. Especially because of this empathic insider's view we try to grasp, and we try to write down in our um, in in our articles and in our theses in a very nuanced way. Um, Topics that we study are very diverse and can be about identity, ethnicity, globalization, ecology, migration, urbanization, and so forth and so on. What we try to do is that we try to look at familiar things as if they are new to us. And by doing that, we try to dissect these familiarities we have and uh, realize that they that we think these things are maybe normal to us, but they're not necessarily have to be. And in other parts of the world, they deal maybe with a similar issue in a very different way. But yeah, that doesn't mean that's not a good way to react to it. There's no judgment. Um, yeah, what you will learn here is also very critical analytical skills. So you're going to be immersed in all kinds of literature, and it's going to probably change fundamentally the way you look at life and the world. Mm, so it's not always an easy process in the beginning, but it's definitely worth it. Yeah, as I already told you, topics that we research in our faculty and in anthropology in general are very diverse. They can be about subjects as migration, diaspora, ecology, religion, but also social media, racism, city making, etc. Our student cohort is very diverse as well. We have both a Dutch-speaking and an English-speaking program, and we attract therefore people from all over the world, literally. So it makes it a very nice, dynamic interesting group of people with also very different background in age and previous education background. Um, we have a first phase and a second phase, and I will tell you more about that a bit later on in the presentation. The teaching staff consists of 8 professors that are divided over 2 research units, 2 research centers. One is IMMRC, Interculturalism, Migration and Minorities Research Center, and the other is IARA, Institute for Anthropological Research in Africa. So yeah, the thematic and geographical focus is already a bit known by the titles of the research units. Of course, IARA focuses mostly on the continent of Africa. IMMRC is therefore is a bit more diverse in terms of geographical location, but is also focused on Belgium. Yeah, here are a few examples of publications from our teaching staff. Also, it's important to know that teaching is research-based, so professors are still working on new research, of course, and they will also use examples from up-to-date research in their teaching. So the structure of the program, it exists of 2 phases, 2 years, in total 120 credits. The first year is meant for introduction and a general overview of what anthropology is about. So you will learn about the basic concepts and the basics of the methods. And the second year is more deepening and for specialization. And you will also start your own research and write up your thesis in the second year. Yeah, so as you can see here, we will have a new program as of next academic year. It's not so much the content that is changing, because we of course want to make you familiar with first of all the basics of anthropology, and after that you can specialize yourself. But it's more that we adapted the structure in such a way that we think it will be even a better program. So as you can see here, first of all, an important change is that we work still in a first and a second phase, where the first phase is meant as an introduction and to get knowledge of basic concepts, to get an introduction to research, methodologies. And the second phase will be more in-depth, where you will do field work and work on your master thesis and take electives that are related to more specializing on your topics of interest. But the difference is that the program is divided in quadrimesters instead of semesters. So it will be blocks of 6 weeks, four blocks of 6 weeks. That's a structural difference. Then, as you can see, the program exists out of 2 introduction courses that are compulsory, 6 basics that are dealing with the basic concepts, different basic concepts. And out of these 6 basics, you have to choose 5. Then there is the research stream. You can see here it's in blue. It exists out of 8 parts, including your fieldwork and your thesis. And finally, there are the electives. So let me first start with the introduction courses. Those 2 courses are compulsory, and they are relating to, first of all, to it's an introduction to anthropology in a decolonizing world. It's dealing with the history of anthropology, how it came into existence, how it developed throughout time until now, how it changed, the theories, theoretical frameworks, etc. Um, and then there is the other part of the introduction, keywords in anthropology. This is given by 5 different lectures that are all specialized in a certain topic, in a certain keyword related to their research expertise, and where they will, well, tell you more about and give you, of course, literature to read and to discuss. Then, as I told you, also compulsory are the basics. These are also dealing with certain kind of topics that are generally important in anthropology, and are looked into more in depth. So the first basic is culture, intimacy, and relatedness. That's also dealing with social relations, kinship, um, um, etc. Then there is the basic 2, power, politics, and cultures of late capitalism in anthropological perspective. This basic is dealing with power and politics from an anthropological perspective. Basic 3 is anthropology of religion. Basic 4 is culture, migration, and mobility. Basic 5, race, ethnicity, and post-colonial condition. And the basic 6 is post-human anthropology. So these basics are covering a very wide range of what anthropology is dealing with, and it will give you a great general overview of the main themes that that you can find in anthropology in a large in a broad sense so you're still getting all the introductions, and that will give you the knowledge to later on go more in depth and take electives that are more focused on specializing. And then finally, very important is the research stream that exists out of 8 parts. And this research stream, of course, starts with making you familiar with the methods that we use in anthropology. It will provide you with the first kind of exercises in doing research, in writing up, in exploring that, and also in designing your own ethnographic research that will be part of your fieldwork project. That will be research 4. And there will also be a part that's more experimental, experience anthropology, where you can experiment with different kinds of methods, amongst others visual methods, for example. And this will all prepare you in the first year to then start with your own fieldwork, where you will have 6 weeks to do your own projects to fulfill that. When you come back, you will directly start with interpreting data anthropologically. So that will give you the possibility to work with your own data that you gathered from your fieldwork, and to directly work with them and have a first start in analyzing and starting to writing up your master thesis. And this is, of course, then continued in research 7 with the thesis writing seminar. And finally, research 8 is finalizing your thesis. Fieldwork is, of course, also mandatory. It will consist out of 12 ECTS points, and this is something that you do in collaboration with your promoter or your supervisor. You're going to do your fieldwork by yourself, but you, of course, have first discussed this through with your promoter, and you've also written down an ethnographic design where you planned and modeled your whole fieldwork project, and where you're going to tell also what you are going to do and how you're going to do that. And this is all, yeah, in collaboration with your promoter. Then the rest of the ICS are are filled up with electives. There is one possibility in the second semester of the first phase, and then there is also much more space for that in the second phase. And then I will, in the next slide, tell you a bit more about your fieldwork and what is expected of you. As you can see here, there are, we of course, as I told you, have electives, and here are some examples of the electives that are given by our program of Social and Cultural Anthropology. So we have Anthropology and the Anthropocene, Anthropology of Islam, Anthropology and Travel, Urban Anthropology, Anthropology of Social Media, World Anthropologies, Cultural Anthropology, Material Culture, and Anthropology of Speaking, Writing, Listening, and Reading. These are some examples. We have more, and there are also many more electives that you can take from other faculties, from other departments at our faculty. You can also take 2 electives completely outside of our faculty if you want to do so. So there is many opportunities also in terms of electives in the new program. Yeah, master thesis will be conducted. Your master thesis you will write about your fieldwork. So in the first year you will write your start report, and then in the second year you're going to do fieldwork and write up your master thesis. And these are all interlinked with each other, these 3 parts of the research. You're going to do fieldwork in the first 6 weeks of the second year, of the second phase. You can basically do that anywhere you want. Of course, we have to take the whole COVID-19 pandemic into account. And as I'm recording this session, we are in Belgium in lockdown. So I, of course, don't know when you are going to attend the program, if you are going to attend the program, but when you are going to, and how the situation will be at that point in time. But if COVID is not an issue, you can go anywhere you want. You're free to go anywhere you want. And if not, there is also the possibility of doing online ethnographic fieldwork nowadays. And we are really also up to date on that. We are giving a training cycle on that, on doing online ethnographic fieldwork. There are a lot of possibilities. Methodologically wise speaking. Also, the topic is something you are free to choose. You are, of course, discussing the topic and the angle you take, etc. And the way you are going to conduct your fieldwork with your supervisor. The supervisor will also look at your start report and will grade it. So the supervisor will be involved in all the different phases of your research and writing up of your master thesis. And then there's also the option to study anthropology abroad. You can do an Erasmus, for example. It's advised to do that in the first semester of the second stage. You can go to stay in Europe, or you can go outside of Europe. You can also do a 5th semester abroad. Therefore, you have to have successfully ended all your courses, except the master thesis. And the third option is the European Certificate in Anthropology of Social Dynamics and Development. That's if you're interested in writing your master thesis and doing your fieldwork on a topic related to development. You will go one semester to a partner university and you will collaborate also, and you will have a co-supervisor from a partner university. Yeah, and finally, I want to say briefly something about the students. And our students are very well organized. We have student representatives. They represent, there are 2 students that represent each part of the program. And every year, the student representatives organize the student colloquium. It's a quite important event at our faculty. Since it allows students to present something themselves, discuss certain issues in a panel. The theme is every year different and is organized and is also it's organized by the student representatives. So yeah, this is just to let you know that we are a faculty department that's very active, also on the students' part. Yeah, if you want more information on the program in detail, or if you have any other questions, you can always contact me. I'm Annelies Kuipers, the program responsible for the Masters of Anthropology and the Bridging program, but in your case, the Master would be relevant. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you in the future.